Okay, next up, we're going to take a little bit deeper dive and really look into a single customer and see all the metrics related to them. So this is going to be good to see their demand trends, what they've been buying, how important they are to our overall business, and then also how they compare to some of their peers. And then just like that last one, ideally, we're able to find some opportunities here where we can go out and specifically target a customer based on some of this really good data in order to change their performance with us in the future. Okay, here we are on our dashboard in Tableau Cloud. This is our customer deep dive, and right now I'm filtered on one of our sample customers. This is one of our restaurants that we sell to. But over here, similar to the beer deep dive, we have a filter so we could choose any different customer we want. And if you watch the last video on the beer deep dive, you'll notice a lot of the visuals on this one are very similar. Tried to keep them to be pretty consistent so people didn't have to learn all new analytics as they're rolling through this different portfolio of dashboards we have. So I'll go through it a little bit quicker this time. First up, we're showing what some of the different metrics are for this customer, how much they bought this quarter, how that compares to some quarters previously. And then this would compare that to all of the other customers that we sell to. So is this one over or underperforming against the rest of our customer base? And in this case, they're pretty similar. Next, we're looking at how different quarters compare against each other. So this dark blue is the current quarter we're in. You can kind of see it down there. That looks at, then compares to the previous quarter, so Q4 last year, and then Q1 last year. There's not too many takeaways here, I'd say. The one thing that does stand out is this one quarter here. This was Q3 of 22. Their demand really took off. And every other quarter on that list, we haven't been anywhere close to that. So that's kind of interesting. So as we scroll down to this bar chart, we're going to see how their sales have been each month going through the year. So we can see the current quarter we're in is relatively small, and that compares to last quarter. And then we'll see comparatively to this spike we saw in sales up here, this is really where they spiked last year, and it was in the late summer. So it'll be interesting as we go into this summer to see if they're going to have sales that high like they did last year. Okay, next up we have our ranking chart again. So as a reminder from the last video, this is how important this customer sales are to our total. So this quarter that we just got out of, they were our 8th most important customer, so not all that critical. But then now we're looking back into like last spring and summer, and they were a much higher percent of our overall sales. And that kind of tracks with this bar chart we saw down here, right? So I think we can normally expect this restaurant is relatively slow for us in the winter time, and then we would expect them to spike up a little bit more in the summertime. This is going to be a comparison now where we can compare this customer against the rest of our customer base. Sometimes, since we have a price list that we sell to our wholesale, this one hasn't been super interesting for this demo dashboard we have, but for some other customer data that we put in here, we would be able to get some additional insights. I guess one takeaway we have here is that the margin that we sell to for this customer for kegs at 70% is slightly below all the rest of our customers at 73%. But not a huge difference there. I don't know that this would be a specific thing that we would want to go action in this case. Next up, in the lower middle, we're looking at what our sales were by the different beers that we sell to this customer. In this case, these guys buy all kegs, which you can see is all silver down below. And then the vast majority of their sales are this hazy IPA, which is one of our flagships. One takeaway here is that this customer does buy a big variety of our beers. They're not stuck on just one or two that they like to have on draft. They like to have a lot of our variety of beers. So that would be a good, continue to keep that in mind as we sell to this customer, that they're probably always looking for something new and interesting to put on draft versus going back to the flagships that some other customers focus more on. And then over here on the right-hand side, we're going to see what is this customer buying in blue versus all other customers in gray. So we're able to see, like we saw from this chart, they do buy a pretty good variety of beers, but there's some they haven't been buying. So if this customer hasn't been buying any pale or any cold IPAs or any sours, this might be something where we have an opportunity to sell more to them in the future than we have in the past, because we know they do like to buy a variety. I'm just going to pull up real quick another restaurant that we have, just so you can see some of the data change. A few takeaways from this customer are they used to be ranking in our top 1 or 2, but recently they've dropped down to number 5. So that's something we would probably want to look into more to understand that. This customer buys a lower variety of beers. They really only buy 3 of them, with our Hazy IPA A as the dominant one. And then we can also see that over here. While they buy these 3, they don't buy anything else. So this might be an opportunity for us to go out to this customer who's had a little bit been less important to our overall sales, and say that we've had some other restaurants in the area who have been buying a larger variety of beers, and they've done a good job selling each of those. So that would be something that we could encourage this customer to do, and maybe that would help increase their sales from us in the future. Okay, so that was our customer-specific deep dive. With only looking at the dashboard for a few minutes, I think we were able to glean several different insights off of there, which would be good for modifying future actions to take advantage of some of these opportunities that stood out. We were able to find those by looking at the customer sales trends, how important they were in our rankings of sales amongst other customers, if they're buying kegs or cans, and then are they buying something different from the rest of our customer base where we can encourage them to buy more of something else in the future. So I hope those were both interesting. If you'd like some more information on either of these, or if you have any questions, or would like to see how some of your data fits into these dashboards, please contact me. My email is jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Again, that email was jeremy@centralcoast-analytics.com. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.